critiquing lifts on Reddit. Now, before I get into the video, I'm not going to critique lifters looking for help. I think anyone that wants to get into the sport of weightlifting, I think anybody looking for help, albeit Reddit's probably not the best place to go, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And look, I've seen people say, I'll get a coach when I get stronger. You know, I made that mistake when I first started out my lifting, so I think sometimes people have to make their own mistakes. But this video is going to be on critiquing the critiques because a friend of mine sent me a couple and they are outlandish. So let's have a look at this video. I've seen this one. The actual lift itself, look, it's not a bad lift. It's obviously of someone who hasn't been lifting an incredibly long time, but his positions overall are pretty nice. He obviously extends, throws his shoulders back a little bit, and his mobility is really good. So he's actually in a really, really good place form-wise. So we're going to look at, I should say really good place form-wise. He's got a good base to build from. So what we're going to look at is add some weight so you can practice catching it lower. This is a common thing that I hear even with beginners in our gym when they start, they're like, it's too light, I can't get underneath it fast enough. The idea that adding weight to the bar will just mean that I'll get underneath the bar faster is, when you think about it, outlandish. A couple of examples. One, my best snatch is 104. I've got pretty good speed underneath the bar. I could be faster underneath the bar. Loading up 110 kilos is not going to make me faster underneath the barbell. The second analogy is like telling someone they need to add weight to the bar, that's how they'll get faster, is like saying, well, if you get into a boxing ring, you'll learn how to punch harder. It's a conversation I have all the time, and I will admit, for some people, adding a little bit, especially if you're a stronger person, adding a little bit of weight can give you more control over the bar. But to develop speed, that one's quick, kills me. The others are, look, you need to get underneath the bar quicker. That's pretty much a power clean, blah, blah, blah. I think in an instance like this, with a lifter like this, my advice would essentially be use a variation that helps teach you to get underneath the bar fast. So it could be like a dip clean, it could be a block clean, it could be a hang clean. Something that if you're pretty strong means you're not going to have as much momentum on the bar. Because when you've got momentum on the bar, you're going to catch the bar a little bit higher if you don't know how to control it. So I think using variations is probably the advice that I'd give this guy. But yeah, the add weight so you can catch it lower thing, I don't know. I'm having issues with my snatch. This is 60 kilos, while my clean and jerk is now over 100. I'm a beginner, less than 6 months. All right, let's have a look. Yeah, not too bad. Does he do another one? So here's an idea, like he knows what positions he roughly needs to be in. Stays over the bar pretty well. Yeah, look, it's someone that's been lifting for 6 months and lifting 60 kilos. That's a pretty good place to be. Pull looks fine. You need to strengthen your overhead position, improve your squat mobility, snatch, push, press, overhead squats with pauses. Yeah, I don't necessarily think he needs to strengthen his overhead position, but probably needs to work on his mobility and just awareness around the lift. Why do you step over the bar and back between reps? You need better overhead strength. You start pulling before the contact. Keep your shoulders over onto the bar. Yeah, sure. Use a pair of clips. It prevents the weights from moving, making a bar more balanced. Well, I don't want to be the person that says clips are a bad thing, because they're not a bad thing. But I'll just insert a video of world-class lifters lifting without clips. All right, next one. All right, so 165 at 165. So a 75 kilo lifter lifting 75 kilos. Okay. Pretty powerful guy. All right, let's see what we got here. Shredded dude too. Stiff-legged snatch. Hips way too high. Hips way too tight. Early arm usage. Cutting the pull short. Your catch position a little iffy. Some overhead squats with pauses would help with that. No overhead squats with a pause are going to help someone's incorrect pull, putting the bar into the wrong position. For the other stuff, a lot of rep work focusing on technique. Yeah, I agree with that. Would help clean it up for sure. Hips too high. Widen your stance. Pretty ugly. Wow. Just straight to it. The hips aren't fully extended. Well, if the hips are too high, it's going to be hard to fully extend. And that is due to the arms being overly bent on the pull. Maybe because he's out of position. A little bend is okay. Overly bent is not. Hips are at sub. Oh my God, so many words. You're a strong guy, clearly. Finally come to. Oh my God. Besides what some have said, you're a bit on your toes. Well, if he's really far over the bar, course you will be. I would say first drop the weight, focus on technique. Yeah, your hips are too high. Sure, I would widen the stance, pull using your leg strength and relax your arms. Also, don't catch the bar after you drop it. All it takes you to slightly miscalculate the time and the bar will just smash your fingers. I've seen people break their fingers doing that. Anyway, all right, so like, so many words, so many things. I mean, most of these guys so far, this is the first guy as an example, or the second person, sorry. Like they just need more reps and they just need a little bit of guidance as to like maybe not necessarily starting with the full lifts, or if they do the full lifts, accepting that they're not going to be perfect on one day and they just need to put reps in. And then with their strength lifts or with their variations, that's when they can kind of focus on specific qualities. Like I reckon snatch deadlifts with an eccentric would help his pull. So like picking the bar up, lowering it down relatively slowly would be beneficial. I don't necessarily teach my beginner snatch pulls because I just feel like it confuses it. But I want to teach them, how to navigate the bar from the floor to the knee. I want to teach them how to navigate like the turnover, so dip snatches. So I think you can same as if you were learning a martial art or same as if you were learning basketball, you're not starting with 3-pointers, you're starting with a layup, you're starting with gooseneck, you're starting with how to dribble a basketball. And the bigger you get at the vocabulary of those skills, when you go to actually play a game, it kind of all makes a bit of sense. So those overly things weren't too bad, but I think when you just point out everything that's going wrong with the lift and all you need to do is fix the start position, I think it's just, I don't know, it's Reddit, I suppose. Form check, looking to teach myself Olympic lifting. All right. Yeah. For someone that hasn't taught himself, it's not bad. Cool. All right, let's see what the world of Reddit has to say. You're kind of doing a no-foot clean. Is that the variation you're doing? If you're intending on doing a normal clean, you should also be plantar flexing, coming up onto your toes. Nice flex, bro. When extending after the bar contact, everything else is decent. You could slow it down and do more tempo pulls. Oh yeah, it's pretty good advice. I'm not really sure what I was doing. It's my first time probably trying it out. It's very good for someone first trying it out. This is an advice my instructor told me from the beginning and found it helpful, although you may not consider this movement necessary at this point because it's a small weight. It is very important to get the full range of motion now so it can feel natural with bigger weights. Apart from that, it seems you have great flexibility in your ankles, knees, wrists. That will help you a lot. Well done. What? My instructor told me to do full range of motion. That's like telling somebody that's squatting for the first time that they shouldn't do box squats or they shouldn't do a goblet squat. Like, he's doing pretty well. For the first time, this looks great. There are things you want to focus on in your pull. Ideally, you want the bar to move in a vertical line upwards. Is it not? I almost argue it's going too straight up. But it needs to come back into him. Well, it's not going for. Oh, maybe the guy's critiquing the bar coming back into him. If so, please stop giving advice. Focus on pushing the floor away. Love that cue. Callus athletics. Anything that points to callus is a good idea. Final thing I'd consider on is pulling the bar a bit higher before moving your elbows underneath. This also could. I'm not going to get into that. Anyway. Hey, you're getting nice critiques, so there isn't too much to add. But just know that it's excellent first session. I agree. You have a very nice front squat. I agree. And I'm sure that it's only a matter of months until your clean is pretty much textbook perfect. I disagree. But I think in a couple of months you'll have a very, very nice looking clean. Yeah, that's good. Extend more at the top. Think shrug. Pull up onto the tiptoe. Tiptoes. You've pulled for too long if you're on your tippy toes. Turns out 15 degrees for more thigh muscle efficiency. That is got to be surely a mistranslation. Don't be afraid to move your feet, homie. Also, the bar doesn't have to be as close to your shins as the deadlift. Yeah, look, I think don't be afraid to move your feet. I won't be scared to move my feet next time. In the bar position, is it better to move it a little bit towards the forefoot? We'll get into that in a second. Someone might have said it, but wait a little longer before the second pull and then do more of a high pull to get your elbows up, rotating into front rack. Look, when somebody like this has already really good efficiency kind of underneath the barbell, I don't want to take that away from them. Like, when you're coaching somebody that's a beginner, if they come in and they present like this, or if this is you, you just kind of need to do more of this. You need to learn to keep the bar a little bit closer, and you need to learn to move your feet. The actual model of what this athlete's doing, if the bar doesn't crash on him, the bar comes back into him off the floor. There's so many positives. But as a coach, I don't need to relay to the lifter everything that's going wrong and everything that needs to be fixed. I know what it needs to look like, and I just need to convey it in as simple terms as possible. And I think a lifter like this, the cue would be keeping the bar a little bit closer and doing what he's doing, getting him to move his feet once he gets the bar a little bit closer. Like, I don't even mind for some lifters doing no feet for a number of weeks so that they can actually feel what it's like when their legs hit extension and then transition underneath the barbell. Because if you just jump for the sake of jumping and you go onto your tippy toes, as that person kind of said earlier, like, it's too late. If you've jumped, you've left the ground. How while you're in midair do you believe that you're going to be able to pull underneath the barbell? The pull underneath the bar comes at the top of your extension. When the bar starts to travel up, you should be traveling down, and your feet are almost attached to the floor for like the smallest of milliseconds, because you're using the bar and you're using the floor to help transition underneath that barbell. Yes, the feet lift out, they shift out. Yes, you hit full extension. But if you watch some of the world's best lifters, after extension, they already start going down while their feet are attached to the floor. I think I'll leave it at that. I can't even remember. I think I did 3 or 4. That was fun. If you've got any questions, guys, hit me below if you want to see more of these, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers, guys.